There's one thing I'm beginning to appreciate so much more, and I'm seeing the importance for it in a greater light, and that is the ability to make quick decisions. I read somewhere that many people go through life not knowing what they want, but feeling very sure they don't have it. This is a problem of indecision. When you're not able to make up your mind about what to pursue, it can become quickly debilitating. I'll use that word debilitating because sometimes some things don't need too much thinking about. You make the decision and you go with the flow. While you're doing it, during the journey, you learn and you adapt. But then other people like to make sure everything is set before even making the first move. That is not a winning strategy. Things will never be perfectly set to make the right move. I'm sure you've heard that several times. And so, in making a decision, while I acknowledge that it's important to be strategic, it's important to make sure you know the motivation for your decision. Because sometimes it's pressure that makes people just decide to do something. Once you know the motivation for your decision and you have sufficient commitment to honoring yourself, I'll put it that way, that when you decide to do something, you'll honor yourself by being committed to that thing. You can usually find your way out of any situation. It's important to pray. I love to pray before making a decision. It's important to also think well about starting something because you don't want to start climbing a ladder and then get to the top and realize that you have been climbing the wrong wall. It's good to look ahead and see how is this thing going to be in the next 6 months, 1 year, etc. But the point of this message is some things just shouldn't take so long to decide. There's also the mental load that comes with indecision. If you were to make a decision today and then you decided you'll do it tomorrow, when you get to tomorrow, you probably have another decision to make tomorrow. But then that would come on top of the fact that, oh, I haven't made the decision for yesterday. Now imagine living that way for 1 week, 1 month, 2 months. And then you have this pile of undecided things and you're like, where do I start from? It can be mentally draining. Learning to make quick decisions can save you so much time, save you stress, and just get your life moving quicker and even in better ways than if you just stand still. Because the way the world is that it's always rotating and revolving, you know? Things are always happening. Having to stay in one spot to decide sometimes has life pass you by. It's a great idea to decide on the move, to decide on the go. Now, of course, there are different levels of decisions we make in our lives. There are very important decisions, life changing decisions, like who to marry, where to settle sometimes, what to do as a career, what to pursue as a career. Sometimes they can be life defining. And there are also other decisions that are simpler to go out or not, to go to the gym or not. Compounding these decisions sometimes also makes a huge difference if you're able to consistently make right decisions and make them quickly. Because an important thing for every human is adaptability, being able to adapt to dynamic situations. I also like to talk about how you can make sure you are making quick but correct, well, I don't want to use the word correct, but quick but helpful decisions. One way is to have a routine, plan ahead. I've heard that there are people who don't spend time deciding what to wear because they've already thought of it before and said, okay, these are the colors I like, these are the looks I like to have. And so they've stocked their wardrobe with a certain set of colors or looks of clothes. So they don't have to make that decision every day. It frees up mental space to be able to think about other things because remember that the brain is also a machine. The more we have to use it to process decisions, and at some point it gets fatigued. And imagine if before you even stepped out of your house in the morning, you had to decide what to eat, you had to decide what to wear, you had to decide what fit to have, you had to decide what car to use today, you had to decide so many things about just daily life, what to give the kids, you had to decide where to go after work, just different things you have to decide in just before leaving the house in the morning. And then you get on the road and then you decide maybe what route to take, you decide where to go for lunch. And there's so many decisions. And then you get to work and then you have work decisions to make as well. At some point you get fatigued, you get stressed. You're like, now imagine piling decisions. Now you have whether to go see grandma or not, and you're like, okay, I'll think about that and I'll decide about that later. Whether to hang out with friends or not, I'll think about that and I'll decide that later. You're just making your life so much more stressful. Having a routine, being able to say, okay, on Wednesdays we always go out with friends. On Fridays we take the kids for lunch. We have a timetable for food, what we eat during the week. Simplifying your life through making those ready-made decisions frees up space for you to tackle the decisions that might be more important. One last thing about decision making. In making decisions, don't think of finality. Decisions can be changed, can be adjusted. It's something I learned recently about two types of children: children that have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Of course, it applies to humans in general. But people who have a fixed mindset, once they decide on something, they feel like this is it. Like, if this fails, everything has failed. But people who have a growth mindset, if this fails, oh, I'll try another one, I'll do it again. They're more resilient. Realize that sometimes things don't go according to plan. Sometimes we just make bad decisions. And being able to adapt to the realities of our decisions is a great skill. Resilience is really important, especially today when there's so many things demanding our attention and we need to stay on top of everything. Thank you for watching.